All right. Hey everyone, good afternoon. My name is Vivek, and I'm most excited to present this hangout to you with the most best-selling author of our times, Chetan Bhagat. And of course, this is about his new book. This is about his new book, Half Girlfriend, which I have with me right now. And I'm so happy to be doing this with him. So, welcome Chetan to this hangout with Flipkart.
Oh,
So,
hi. Always nice to be hanging out.
I just first question, which I know is quite cliche and must have gotten a lot of that. Why half girlfriend? What was the idea behind it, or what were you trying to say through the plot? So why the story?
Well, frankly, the half girlfriend creates more curiosity than full girlfriend or even a full wife. If the moment you say half girlfriend, there's a conflict in the title, and it makes you wonder. And the idea of a title always is to evoke curiosity, and I think it does that really well. But broadly speaking, it also tells you about the nature of relationships these days. Many people are close to each other. They are a little more than friends, but they are not in a relationship or something like that. So that is, that's where then you need a new term to define it. What's going on there? Are they just good friends or are they in a relationship? So I thought a middle term is needed, which is half girlfriend, and it could mean different things. There's no one meaning of half girlfriend or half
Okay.
boyfriend for that matter, but it's that in the middle confusion stage of a relationship.
The minute you announced your title and you announced the plot of the book, there was a lot of speculation, and with the speculation, there was a lot of backlash that happened.
Yeah.
What did you think of it or make of it? Because honestly, here you were just trying to attempt to write a story and just tell it the way you always do. So, what did you think of all that on Twitter, on Facebook?
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised at the extra attention, and I must say that Flipkart had something to do with it because with that full page ad that came on August 5th,
Sure.
it really shook up a lot of people and got a lot of attention. And also the internet has increased, the penetration has increased a lot since my last book. For example, today on Twitter alone there are 3.2 million followers, whereas um, at my last book it was 400,000, and before that was only 20,000. So I think there's a dramatic rise in the number of people watching what I'm doing online. And when the title like this was announced, which is bound to attract attention, I think there was a lot of reaction,
Sure.
and the people started having a lot of fun, which is normal in Twitter. So I think it was mostly people just having fun. And once a meme starts on internet, nobody will remembers what started it. It's just like everybody wants to jump into the half girlfriend, hashtag, and it's
Yeah.
good for me because it just. If you notice, this time I've hardly done media promotions because it's not needed anymore. This book is largely being promoted online.
Yeah, also, the plot of the book. I mean, here you're talking about two people, and there's language that plays a major role also in the
Yeah.
book. So, so what were you trying to tell your readers basis that? Because when I read the synopsis, of course, I'm still to read the book. It just comes across as very, how do I put it, very language driven. That one can only fall in love if one knows how to speak a particular language. Is that true of the book?
Yeah, I mean, besides the marketing and the hashtags, I mean, this story has taken me a long time to write. It has taken me 3 years, the longest gap I've had between books, and it's because it's quite a difficult subject because it's about this boy who doesn't speak English very well. He knows English, but it's not very confident speaker. And for an English language writer to write an English book on such a boy was quite challenging. But I also felt that this affects millions and millions of people in our country who have a complex about English. And wherever I do surveys, and a lot of times girls say they don't want to date a guy if he doesn't speak English properly for whatever reason. And I thought this will make a really interesting story. So that's why it does dig deep into the language divide in the country. There is substance in the book. Of course, while we are marketing it, it's all love story, half girlfriend, but there's a lot of substance in the book as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just that I've never seen, in the terms of when you're talking about an Indian writer dealing with different concepts, the way you bring about the concept with every book that changes so rapidly and so drastically. One would think that probably you would write about social media sometimes. And here you talk to us about, the language barrier between people and love and relationships yet again. So what made you, do that? So why
Yeah,
not?
there are also people often call me that I'm in the more commercial category of writers. But typically, if you notice, my work is different from commercial writers in terms of the choice of subjects. Most commercial writers will either do a series, so they'll have a detective who will go on for 10 novels, or you have a Harry Potter, which is the one wizard, boy wizard for 7 volumes, or you will, or crime, or they stick to one genre and people love that character and they keep coming up with series. But I don't do that. I mean, for me, the purpose of writing is to bring out various issues in our society and bring them out in a very entertaining manner. Bring out something painful in a fun manner. And for that, I have to find a different topic each time. Otherwise, it's just not challenging. It's just not the reason for me to do it. So that's why I do it actually. So
Uh,
that I find every time there's no sequels in my books. There's always a new topic. Sometimes Bihar, sometimes Gujarat, sometimes it's South India. It's different things.
Sure. So when you're talking about writing about something painful, perhaps, or bringing out that emotion, like I was telling you earlier, that I love two states, and I thought it was pretty cathartic. And so, how did you deal with your emotions while writing about such topics that are so close to you, that have probably happened to you? So, how do you differentiate between the author and the person who's lived it?
I think I've become better at it. Initially, I wasn't able to, but now I'm able to realize that okay, this is me writing the story, so I'm just writing it. I'm the witness, and then sometimes it could be a story about me, which was two states, and in that case, it was difficult, and it was a cathartic novel about the boy, the main character's relationship with his father, his family, and all the issues. And it takes sometimes a long time in life for you to approach those emotions again. It took me 10 years after my marriage to attempt a book like Two States. So I couldn't have done it right when I got married. That is why perhaps the social media book you're looking for is not going to come right now because I'm right in the middle of it. And maybe 10 years later, I'll be able to see what really happened and I will be able to laugh at it and do it.
Just to go a little off track, I've always wondered what made you write what Young India Wants. I think that was the title of the book, or What India Wants.
What
Uh,
you yes.
so, there was a slew of all your fiction and, all your fast, racy fiction, as people would like to call it. Then why this non-fiction book in the middle?
Because the purpose of me doing even the fast racing fiction is to bring about some change in society, and that's what I think that's what confounds a lot of my critics in a way that they don't know where to place me. Is he a fast racing fiction guy? But then why is he talking about Mudra riots and why is he talking about education system or interstate marriage issues? Because these are real problems. So I use a popular idiom as you call it, but there is thought behind each book, and there is a lot of things I feel about the country and it just came to a point where I couldn't do a story each time about every issue. So I started doing columns and that gives me more satisfaction. Today, yeah, it's great half girlfriend and movies and everything and millions of books being sold. But I mean, frankly, I've done it all before. So there is nothing. I want the story to be light, and after that, I want to use my popularity to bring attention to some very important issues. If Half Girlfriend allows us to discuss English and what happens to people who don't speak English very well for a few days, I think I would have done my job. But if it just sells books and that doesn't happen, I'll feel like I've not done my job. So what India wants is also me. I do want to bring about change. All this storytelling and romance and everything is also me, but it's not the entire me.
So, coming back to what we were discussing earlier, is that, when you say that writing and you want to bring about sort of a social change with your issues that you bring about in your books, and still there's a particular set of people that say that, you write so that the books get made into movies. So what do you have to say to that? I mean, change is the change, right? Whether through a book or through a movie.
I mean, this set of people, if you've been in this industry, you realize that there's a small set of people which you may seem that they're very visible on Twitter, but it's a really tiny set of people. They would make you believe that my books have no standing, they have no value, there's nothing. But yet, they've been saying this for 3, 4 years on the same platform, Twitter. The following has grown. 400,000 to 3.2 million, which I just checked. It's a eightfold increase from one book to the next. So it's often you get trapped into believing that these people actually have a valid opinion. They may not
Sure.
be right always. They may have a view because for one thing, and there is leaps of logic in their arguments because I have to make the book work. There is no movie of Half Girlfriend tomorrow. It's only a book and 2 million
Of
books
course.
printed. So if the book doesn't work standalone, how can I write that? Okay, chalo, iska picture banate hain. And how will people are stupid? 2 million people will shell out money and buy a book and take it home. If they have to feel something when they read the book, it has to touch them. Now a movie may be derived out of it, but that's not how it works. And often it's the people who have never done anything in the movie business or the books
Think
business
that.
like that. So unfortunately, I don't want to come across as somebody who knows more than them, but I'm sorry to say that that's not how it works. I wish it worked like that, but then it's not so simple. You have to make the book work.
Of course you do, and there's a lot that goes into making the book work. Even if it means that you have to chalk
Just
out
because
one.
a lot of movies have come out of the books, it doesn't mean that they are written only for movies. For me, movies are important, but I'm not so Bollywood struck anymore. People are, I guess, very Bollywood struck in this country, so they only think I'm on as if movies is some ultimate goal. It's okay. Movies help me in my PR and my publicity, but I'm doing this to make some change happen in the country. So it's how many times do I say it? I mean, I can keep saying it. All the data points to it, all the evidence points to it. But you can't help 50 people with Twitter accounts. If they are going to decide the agenda for every interview of mine, then it feels like okay, fine. There is 3.2 million people who don't think that way.
Definitely, and I'm certain that with Half Girlfriend also, there will be a social cause in what you're talking about, and it's so relevant today because when we look around us, there are a lot of people who perhaps are underconfident because of their communication skills, and a lot of people who don't perhaps want to fall in love with someone who's underconfident because of his or her communication skills, and that is so evident in our
Yeah.
in our society, and we only mock. And I'm glad that you write a book about it and bring it out there for
I feel
people
like
to.
if you're an English writer and you were saying you're an Indian writer, how can you not cover the India where the English is not so well understood? And if I don't do it, then who's going to speak for them? I mean, they should not be heard because they don't have the correct pronunciation. They should have no say. They have no feelings. They don't matter because they're not as posh as you are. I mean, that's not how I think. I'm not an elitist, and I think this book will prove that more than any other book of mine.
Definitely. In fact, for the Hangout, we also got a couple of questions from readers, and I think they are very good questions. So I'm just
Just
going to
turn
pose them
that
to
light.
you.
That light is coming behind you. You can just
Sure,
shut it.
just a minute.
Sorry. Yeah.
No. So we have a question from Vijay on Twitter. His handle is Talk to Gokul, and he says, "How difficult do you think is putting into writing all that you emote for a love story? How do you do it so flawlessly?"
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I do it flawlessly, but thank you for the compliment. But it is quite difficult because there are so many love stories. The challenge is writing a love stories. People like reading love stories, but there are so many love stories. So you have to make it fresh. So that becomes difficult. You have to find something in it because at the end of the day, there's a boy and there's a girl, and there are only so many plots you can have. So the plot is going to be something which people know already. So what is unique is the setting, the approach, the
Sure.
characters, the conflicts. So that is the big challenge. And I think you really, yeah, it's the ultimate test of emotions. You really have to write from an emotional space. If you want to do a love story, well, it has to come from emotions. You can't do logic in it. And that's this book. It's not so much. It's just out of a place of emotion. That's it.
So tell me something. So after writing all these love stories and bringing out all the emotion out there, does it, leave you very, very exhausted at the end of it? I mean, how do you get the energy then to approach another book?
It does. It is draining for me, and actually this year has been particularly draining for me, especially when you have to release something. So there was Two States movie, then there was Kick, and this is the big West one because movies other people are doing and helping out. But this one is the biggest, and now I can feel the burnout happening, So yeah.
All right. We have a second question from Shahidullah who says that if you have to choose a subject on one social evil, which one will you take on and why?
Um, well, I've taken on a lot of social evils, but after this English, I don't know. I think like gender issues is something I've always thought about, but I've not got a good story yet on that.
Okay. So when you say gender issues, are you talking about same-sex love? Are you talking about other gender issues?
I think mostly about women, feminism, maybe about women's rights or something. But I have to again, it sounds very heavy terms, boring terms for a Chetan Bhagat book. But by the time it comes as a Chetan Bhagat book, it will be a very fun book.
I'm sure you'll make that also very entertaining, but very relevant with a message right there. We have another question from Being Delhiite, that's the Twitter handle, and he's asking you who's your favorite writer and which book is your favorite.
I think it's impossible to have a favorite writer, and there's a lot of books I read. Why don't I just try to move this camera to my current bookshelf here?
Sure.
Okay, ignore the Chetan Bhagat books here. But like this Godfather, this Catch 22, there's a Harry Potter, um, there is Shantaram. So these are just, I mean, this is my office, so I have only few books. I have much more
Sure.
at home. So these are the kind of books I read, all kinds of books really.
Great. And there's another question from Baba S600, and that's very funny and very interesting. He says, why all your book titles have numbers in
Because your Twitter on handle also has a number, Baba.
them?
I am an engineer and I was a banker, and so it's my memories of those days. So here is half in this one and 2020 and two states. Yeah, you're right. It's numbers everywhere.
Uh, so these were the questions from Twitter, but I have another question for you. That have you ever felt while watching a movie being made out of your book that the movie was not able to do justice to the book? Was there such a time or moment? I'm not going to ask you to name, but
I don't no. I mean, I don't think. I personally don't think it's the movie wasn't able to do justice. I take personal responsibility for anything that's out there, even though other people may have made, directed, or acted in the movie. It's something I decided to do. I said okay to. So I would say we were not able to justify. And I think the only place where I would say that has happened is Hello, where it wasn't a total disaster the movie, but it didn't do as well as the other ones did. And the potential, therefore, of my book into a movie can be very high. But we couldn't do it like like we could have. So somewhere down the line, we or I, could have done a better job there.
sure. So Half Girlfriend is releasing tomorrow. It's exclusively available in Flipkart. My question to you is
My friend, on again,
online exclusively available in Flipkart.
on bookstores. Please don't think
Yes,
Flipkart is this big monster that gobbles up everybody. Flipkart is as much a friend of all book lovers as anybody else. I need to tell people this. It's not some monster gobbler, and I think it's just a relationship Flipkart and I have shared for a very long time, and that's why we did this. But yeah, it's been a beautiful partnership this time.
of
Uh,
course. So what's next? I mean, Half Girlfriend is releasing tomorrow.
like
Uh,
I told you, I'm very exhausted, so a little burnt out. So I think I'll need to take a break to figure out what I want to do next.
Great. So thank you very much, Chetan, for this hangout with us. And like we said, it's available exclusively online with Flipkart. So do go ahead and buy that copy, and trust me, you won't be disappointed. And
No,
it'll be a great story to read.
I'm gonna put another challenge for people. I think I was gonna go to
Sure.
that once they get, how you have these unboxing videos.
Yes.
So I want people to do the Flipkart half girlfriend unboxing videos tomorrow and post it. And the best ones I'll RT. Make them funny, make them nice, and you may win a prize.
Great. You heard that from Chetan Bhagat. So unbox your package, talk about it, post it, and he will RT you. All right. Thank you very much, Chetan. Thanks a
Thank
lot for this hangout. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
thank you. Thank you.